Good morning. Good morning. It is Friday. Probably about 9 o'clock or so. Didn't sleep much this morning, last night, so we kind of took our time getting out of bed and getting breakfast this morning. Sun is already running the fan in there good because it needs to circulate the heat, the remaining heat. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. Heat ripples coming out of the stovepipe. Talkie turkeys. Yoke, yoke, yoke. Yeah, maybe. And darn, rosemary's exploded. Anybody need some rosemary? All right, folks. Yesterday was crazy. All of you out there, or let's say a lot of you out there, got to deal with what I dealt with. Yesterday morning, it was 64 degrees, warm, humid, and cloudy, and extraordinarily windy. So I came in here and pulled the door shut and proceeded to start gluing up all the cutting boards. And it was a sloppy mess. But I think we got there. We have 6. I got two of them right there. I need more clamps. I don't have enough clamps. I need more clamps. And I'm looking at it pretty good. If you've ever done this, it's kind of tricky because you need to get each side. You actually have to cut. I took a little chip brush like one of these right here, and the cheap ones that you can get at Harbor Freight. Use that chip brush to paint on the glue. And I went through both of those, and it looks like there's a little bit left that settled out, but I dumped them into the egg carton, and I use egg carton. Oops. I still got some wet glue in there, but I used the egg carton as like a paint tray. Ended up pouring out some more. I shouldn't have left these out. This is the kind of glue we used, and I don't think it should have froze. Maybe it did. It's not like in the cold. I may have to get some more of it, but it seems to be working. And so I went through, essentially both of those were full because I just filled them not too long ago out of this jug, and I emptied those two, as you can see how much is in them. And then I went through probably a whole nother one. So in these 6 cutting boards, there is about 2.5 of those, or over two of them at least, and a lot of glue. So you want to make sure that these things stay together. Like I said, they will last a long time if you keep them well cleaned and oiled or managed properly. So there you go. And one of the things you need to make sure of is that you get proper squeeze out in the glue. A little excessive, but this is one of those, don't spare the rod, so to speak. There's one issue here. It looks like there's a slight gap in there. I can fill that with some glue. The other side's fine. I already checked it. Ooh. Well, hey there, Smokey. Yeah, the other side's fine. What you doing, buddy? He was my helper. Yesterday. I sat right here with my butt on there, and he sat for a good portion of the time right here, and it was a little awkward when I'm leaning over to do all the painting on this, and he says, "Oh, Mama, I just want to snuggle because it got cold." I'm in a temperature dropped like a rock yesterday. It went from 60 to 64 to about 42 in about an hour and a half to 2. It seemed like it really went down fast, and then it poured, and he didn't like that. He didn't want to be out there in the rain, so he sat on top of Mama's shoulders. All right, so folks, a lot of BS here. Anyway, that was the next step. I didn't feel it necessary to video it. Kind of, you know how I've said, you get into that. I just want to quietly work peacefully to myself and be in my own little zone, because there's a lot of repetitive. I mean, I thought I was going to get this done in about an hour and a half, and it took me about 3.5 hours to get all this glued up. It's crazy, but we got her done, and now this time for the next step. So I'm gonna take all these clamps out. I actually think I'm gonna go out there in the sun, because it got down to like 16, and it's still probably only about 22, 24, maybe 25. It hasn't warmed up much out here. So I think I'm gonna get all of these, get them unclamped, get my workspace cleaned up, and take them out to the deck and get the generator out. And we got two things we need to do. I need to take, because it's all going to be all bumpy and funky because of the glue, I got to get a belt sander on this and kind of take down most of the high spots on one side, so that I can run it through the planer. And I got to do that to all of those. So let me get set up, and we'll show you that here in a bit. All right, well, about 30 minutes later, we're almost set up. Trying to set our station back up here. Our cinder blocks were froze to the ground, so we need to give them a chance to thaw out before we set the planer up and everything. Oh boy, it's still quite chilly out here. So I got all the boards sitting out here. So one section that was close to the newspaper was still a couple spots where there's still, oh, maybe that is hard and dry. Yeah, it is kind of hard and dry. Anyway, I'm going to work on the deck with this, because any of you have ever operated or used one of these really good belt sanders, boy, they got a drag to them. And I just kind of got a nice little setup right here. I wouldn't screw this 2x4 down, because then I can lock it up against there like that and sand it and not have it pull out from under me and not have the belt sander hit my brace. A nice little edge right there. So we're getting that set up. T's almost ready. She was out helping, and then something else came up for a moment. Whew. Totally weird energy in this world. Totally weird energy. So anyway, gotta give it a few more minutes so that we can clean up those blocks and get our little station set up, and then we're gonna get going on getting these things cleaned up. The first step is gonna be to get one side reasonably flattened down, so there's not all these drips and bumps and stuff. And it might be the top side that I work on the first, because planer knives are going to cut that. I'm going to change out the planer knives in the planer and put a brand new set on here, so that I can try and keep these as clean with as little chip out. When I was planing the white oak is really stringy, and it will splinter out real bad and peel out. I had issues with it on certain boards. These two love to roughhouse and tumble together, and they're made for each other. So I got to get these cleaned up so that I can run them through the planer. I'm going to put some clean knives in the planer so that I can have a nice clean surface. And once we do that, and we have them all flattened, both sides nice and clean, then we'll trim the edges trim the edges down on them so that we got the edges done. And then we'll break out the, what do you think there, Smokey? We'll break out the router and the round over bit, hit the edges of them, and then that's when T likes to get a hold of them. She loves to do the sanding work on it. So, alright, we'll be right back as soon as she's ready to go and we can get set up. Alright, these are the two straps. Let's see what we got here. Trying to maximize these as much as I can. Here there's a few issues. I'm trying to get into it a little bit more, like here and here, to try and clean off a little bit of that. These are pretty good, so I'm going to go right up to edge as true as I can. I just tried this on the table saw, and the T-square on it is just not secure enough for the mass of this. So I'm going to do this by hand because I can be a little bit more in control, get a much more truer, straighter edge. Get over there. This one looks nice. They really have turned out nice. I could come back to here, but I think I'm just going to leave it close to full. And the last one. Here's another issue that I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Let me mark this side. This looks good. Good glue joints. We just need to flush up the end. I saw this, and so this is pretty good. No issues there. When I saw this, I was like, well, there's a bit of split right here. And I could come back and cut it right here, but that's going to significantly shorten this block. I think I want to take it off, but I'm not going to take off the whole thing. I think it'll be alright with just a minor little split in there. Take off about that much, because I don't want to lose too much wood. So let's see. Outside looks good. Let me double check all the front sides, make sure I'm not missing anything. So if I take that much, that'll clean that up really good. Some of this, like this one right here, there was a wormhole in it, and you can see that there was starting to be a little moisture coloration in there, but there's not much I could do about that, because you couldn't see that when I had the stick in there. This looks good. That looks good. The knot, well, that knot, you almost couldn't see it. Pretty much couldn't see it when the stick was put here, because it was upside down. For one, I put the bad side down, but once I planed it, it opened it up, and the planer blades tend to catch the sideways grain, and it doesn't like it, and it'll throw out chunks. That's just part of the game. You think you got them clean, and then they do that. And then I got a little bit of a glue joint issue in that, but I'm not going to fuss about it. And this was a scrap piece, and that was a scrap piece. So these are all scraps, and we just glued them up anyway. This was for whatever reason, there's a gap in the wood on this piece right here. There's a slight glue joint issue there. Just must not have gotten enough glue in there. But other than that, you use this top, you won't know the difference. It'll look pretty to you. And this one looks pretty good. There's some glue joint issues on this one too. I wasn't like really trying on these, but it'll still be fine once I get the edges trimmed up, rounded over, and smoothed out. You know, top side will look good. And these back sides are usually what I brand anyway. So let me get the skill saw and let's see if we can make these things true up. Alright, so I'm going to get my practice down. I usually have a pretty steady hand, but I'm going to get my practice down on these the scrap ones, so that I feel, you know, kind of ready to go when I hit the bigger ones. But should be fairly simple. Alright. Actually, yeah, you look at it, aside from the little burr, it's not too bad. Kind of run into it a little bit up here. See where the line is. I went on the line and it came off the line a bit, but that's not that big an issue. Once I put the round over on it, sand it,
yeah,
that actually will be a nice good edge. So it's not bad. Let me keep my eye on it this time. Let's see if I can do a better job of staying on the line. I did the same thing, not as bad. I started in on line and I came off of it just a hair, and then I somehow managed to work back onto it. It's not much, you almost can't see it. Let me flip it over there.
Not
you
too
see
bad.
just right there on the edge. It's, like I said, T and I are perfectionists, and what I really want is a real table saw, not that damn. I mean, that's contractors, construction site, that's fine for that. But I need a good cast iron one. So this isn't too bad. We'll be okay with this. Like I said, once this, I'm gonna go try it a little steadier. Alright, that one did much better. That one did much better.
Battery.
Oh, that's why it was giving out. Yeah,
that's a little bit better.
Yeah, you can see that. Not bad for a freehand.
Nope, but we do got to change the battery.
Alright, let's do that. throw a little curveball at you. If I really wanted to get fun, there's another technique that you could do with these, and a lot of woodworkers will do it for the complexity of, look how neat I can do things. But you could take these, and they're fine just like they are, but I could take these over to the table saw and I could start ripping out strips here, right? And then I could turn them on end, and I could rip strips of here and strips here and strips here, so that I have all these different strips with different patterns, turn them on end, glue them together now that they've all been plain, flat, and smooth, and then have an end grain with a multi-pattern. You can get really, really fancy with it. But then again, if you get that fancy with it, it's like you almost
don't want to use it.
You don't want to use it. It's like, oh, we'll just sit it up there on the back of the wall and display it on the countertop.
Yeah.
Which is, some people do. But for that, now what's left is to do the round over. So give us a bit to set up that, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back, and I think we are... I'll leave that down. All right, so we did not show you the rounding over. Come in and give them a quick zoom in there. We rounded everything over really nice, so it'll make it nice and soft and good feeling in your hands and whatnot. So we got the round overs done on all corners. Yep. And there's only 2 things left to do, and then we'll finish. So what I've done is I've gone through and kind of graded both sides to see which side I liked the most, the one I wanted to be on top. Okay, so what you just saw as she was panning across here, these are what I consider the better sides. So these are the ones that we're going to use upwards for cutting, because on the back sides, like this one right here, you got your shadows in the way, honey. There you go. Get your shadow. I got a little bit of a knot here, and I got a little glue issue here. It's not a biggie, but that we do have that. On this one, I got a pretty good sized knot right there that showed up as I was planing it down. That wasn't holed out like that because, like I said, the blade pulled out that dead piece there. Almost did right here, but not too bad. On this one, this side ain't that bad. Matter of fact, if I'd taken and run this through the planer a couple more times and made it thinner, I could probably have cleaned up that little itty bitty wormhole that's right there. But I'm gonna leave it as thickness. There's a slight glue line that you see here. Not bad, but this one is a pretty good one. And then this one really isn't that bad at all. There's a little bit of a glue line issue there. Not bad. I mean, it really isn't. And then this one, these two are the scrap piece ones. I got a pretty good glue line issue on this one. I might even come back on this one and try and do some fill in with some glue to try and fill that gap. This line right here is actually full of glue, so that's a good bond there. But there were some issues. Anyway, this is not the better side. So I'm putting the what I consider the not good or bad sides down. This one right here, there was a little chip out. I told you about the chip out on this stuff. I'm going to take and sand that down and clean that up. But under here, on the back side, we had a little bit of a glue line and that knot. So to me, this was the better side. So that's what we're doing. And so we got 2 steps left to do. One is I want to know where the back is. I want to get everything in orientation, because my next step is to burn them up. Or, well, actually just burn a small spot on them. But I know. That's crazy. So this is our brand, and I made this about 6 years ago. when we started doing a lot of our woodworking. And I'm going to burn in our brand into the back of the board. You don't want it on the face where you can see it. I want it on the back of the board. But that's what we got to do next. So I've got them all lined up so I can do that. So it takes a little bit. Probably should be doing this with the the bigger torch, because it'll heat this up a whole lot quicker. The little propane burner works too. Just takes a few minutes. We test it.
Not
Nope,
yet.
not yet. So it's hard to see in the daylight. In the daylight, you can't see it when it gets glowy. The metal, it gets all orange and glowy. There we go. That's it. Sorry, we reheat it. Okay, that's it. Now all that's left to do is to do the final sanding, and we'll take another look at them real quick when we finish it. But that's pretty much there. You're not going to see a whole lot of difference once we get the final sanding. The reason I go ahead and burn before I do the final sanding is you can see that light smoke browning around it. I want to go ahead and kind of lightly take that off and bring the contrast of the wood back out. You'll see it when we're done, but it's just my preference. That's the way I like to do it. Others will brand after they're done. I brand before we do the final sanding. That way, if I overcook it or whatever and I need to fix it, I can always redo it. But this went pretty well.
Yep.
That actually was a good branding on them. So, all right, let's get them sanded, and we'll show you what they look like when we're all done. Smile, you're on candid camera. You done?
I think so.
She's over here was making a mess. I was down there breaking my back, starting to till for spring. Well, why don't you show us what you got? I'll let you do the honors.
Made sure each one of these was smooth.
Yeah, looking good. It's looking good.
When you routed, took all those little marks off and made sure there were no router marks, and kind of sanded down our little brand a little bit. And
got the smoke burn off. Just left the burn.
Yep. So that's what I did with each of these, is made sure each one had all the router marks off. And
now they're dusty looking.
they are. So,
but
once you either blow them off or get a lightly and really lightly damp rag, then
And wipe it down.
you can wipe most of the dust down. But other than that, each one of these I think look pretty darn good.
I think we did a fabulous job here. Pull those over. That one.
This one for Miss Joanna, I like this one because it's got this little, almost looks like a little worm.
No, you know what that is?
Almost.
That's the pith.
That's the pith?
That's the very center of the tree.
But it looks like a little...
I know, but it's not. I can tell by the little grain in there. That's actually the pith. And that little hollow spot runs the entire length of the tree.
But it's got some character.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, they just need a good oiling. And
wipe down or whatever, and they'd be good to go.
I got an idea.
Huh.
Why don't you go get those names and cut the little slips of paper out and put them in a bowl and bring them out here.
Okay, I'll do it.
Let's do that. All right. So we brought out the one that I originally said that we were going to give away, and you can see how deep and rich it looks. It only has a very light coat of olive oil on it, so you can know that these are going to look like that once they've been oiled up, and it will, oh my God, it will make the color pop between all of these. It'll really make it stand out. So T's got a bowl there.
Yep. And since you're tall, you
No. First off, you want a huge amount. All right, so anybody who left a comment on
Heritage Homestead Creations
on that other channel
of the last 4 videos we posted.
Yeah.
Not all of them, just the last 4 that we.
Yeah, since I asked people to do that. So there's about a dozen in there. About a dozen people who did, and a lot of you made a bunch of comments, and I appreciated that. That was helpful. You never know. Oh goodness! Took her jackets off because it was right warm, and then that wind hits, and burr. All right, so we're gonna pick a name, and before I pick that name, more suspense. Roll drum roll. No, before I pick it, here's I guess an option for the winner or whoever I get to send a cutting board to. And what are you doing, Mittens?
She wants to hide under the tarp.
I know. So this one and this one were all made from the scraps, and they were just basically the leftovers, and that's why I did what I did with the cutting boards, to make one for the cabin down there so it could lay on top of the countertop and just kind of blend in, but you wouldn't cut the countertop, you'd be working on the counter. So people have different preferences. So instead of saying here it's just this one, I figured I would leave it open to choice. Whoever's name we pull out, whether you want the shorter, fatter, thicker one, it's just solid white oak. The little thinner one, it's a little smaller, but I threw in a little accent. It's got some red oak and a little piece of walnut in the middle there, and it's got walnut on each end as trim. So a little accent. So it's got some color to it. So this one's pretty big, and it's it'd be something that you'd maybe butcher a chicken on, or you could really do some work on. But different people have different likes and tastes, and since all of these were my scrappers, these are the ones I made with intent and purpose, and they are all I guess my highest quality ones, because each of these have, like I said, a little issue here and there. I will leave open the option for whoever's name gets drawn to select between the three. You don't have to have that one. You could have one of these others if you wanted to. So, what do you think of that?
That sounds good to me.
I think it sounds good. So you have an option. You could either have this one, or that one. You don't have to have that one because I put them all in the same category of maybe not my best. This was just, these were thrown together so we could like not waste all the extra leftover pieces from cutting these. So Joanna has this one.
Yep.
We have this one, this one, and this one that are available to anybody who may want one. So here, I'll hold the bowl and you reach up in there.
Margarita Castaneda.
Margarita Castaneda. That means, do we have her information?
I think we do. I don't remember, but I think I do.
Because there's so many of you that we have had send us stuff. We've got addresses and we've sent stuff, and she sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Like
I'd have to look through
sent
all my stuff, but I may have.
Okay. So let's look through it. Let's assume, for the sake of this video, that we don't, and email us and contact us, and let's verify that we do have your correct information. You never know, you may have moved or something like that. But
let us know in the email which one you would like.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to say, honey. That's what I was getting ready.
I read your mind.
Yeah, you did. You read my mind. So anyway, that'll wrap it up for these. I've got a few to play with for a while now. I might want to keep one of these myself. I'm like really impressed with them. Here, honey. Here, pat me on the back. Very good. Now, turn around. Here. Good job. Good job. All right. That's it for today. I wasn't that worn. Yeah.
It's been a long day.
It's been long. Yeah, I wasn't worn out until I went down there. That was.
Well, that ground's only been tilled one time, so
yeah.
You've got all the roots from.
Yeah, still got a lot of work to do in that. We had that rain, and it's soft out there from yesterday's rain. All right, folks, that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and again, as we go along through our creations in these projects, eventually T and I want to finish up all the little crazy, stupid homesteaded projects, like painting that and finishing the inside there and the deck on that, and all these
little things. Yeah.
Well, they're big things. All these projects around here we want to finish, and no, Mr. Muddy Toes. No, Mr. Muddy Toes, you don't do that. He's just putting, Mom.
That's so much fun.
You know. So, down. So in the future, we will be doing a whole lot more of these wood projects for the apple press, cheese presses, cutting boards, the pizza peel that we did. I mean, we're gonna do
birdhouses, picture frames.
There you go, birdhouses,
all kinds of stuff.
Pretty much anything that we can make. Boxes for our canning jars. There's so many things that we want to make. We just need to get rid of all these other projects so that we can go to making stuff and then having some wonderful things for you to decorate and use in your homestead. So anyway, that's what we have. I hope you enjoyed. Say bye-bye.